You are listening to the Techie Leadership Show with Bogdan and Andrei.
Hello and welcome to the Techie Leadership Show. Today with me I have Aaron Patton, and he is on a mission to help you build your online presence plus unlock digital freedom. After years working as a software sales rep for various SaaS companies, he decided to leave the 9-to-5 world in 2017 and pursue opportunities on his own. He is currently the host of the top-rated and ranked podcast New Age Influencers, where he helps educate individuals about how it's possible to improve their lifestyle simply by having the courage to get online and display their unique personality, skill sets, and interests. Hello, Aaron. How are you?
Hi, how are you doing? Thank you for having me, and hello, everybody.
Yeah, it is a pleasure, and I'm really looking forward to hearing your stories.
Fantastic. Let's do it.
Yeah. Do you want to add anything else about yourself?
Nope. That's a good intro. I'm just someone who is trying to learn the way of the world in online business and achieve that laptop lifestyle that so many people try to pursue, but very few get. So I'm trying to help more people get there as well.
Yeah, and I'm really curious about your leadership stories because they also help you on that track and help you help more people.
Exactly.
So it's going to be good. So with that, what is the biggest leadership success story you've witnessed personally?
So most of my experiences with leadership, I'm going to draw from my past career in software sales. So before I hopped into this online game and podcasting and whatnot, I was, working a regular 9-to-5 job in various software companies, different products, different industries, but they had a lot of similarities. And through those experiences, I did witness a lot of failures and successes when it comes to leadership. And when I say leadership for me specifically in that software sales realm, I'm talking about my immediate managers and my peers. So I'd say the biggest success story that I saw that I can draw from and think back on is when one of my peers, who was a good friend back when I was living on the East Coast near Washington, D.C., he, was a smart guy. He worked very hard. And he rose up the ranks very quickly as far as, he was originally my peer, and then he became an assistant manager, then a director, and just kept moving up steadily. Whereas he stayed at that company, I left that company actually. So I didn't get to truly witness the intimate version of his rise, but I knew that he did rise quickly. And probably the biggest reason for that is because he started where everyone else starts, and he had that experience. So he understood mentally what people needed to focus on, where people needed to spend their time in relationship to the product and the company, and just, having the most revenue. So he was able to bring that peer mindset into a leadership role. And I think that's the biggest key component, is understanding mentally who you're actually helping and directing, and not just being someone to boss people around and trying to be, the know-it-all or the big head honcho. Being someone that's in the trenches with your team, I think, is one of the most important things. And that's what he did so well, and that's why he rose so quickly.
So the fact that he rose through the ranks, he didn't got placed inside, and that's something that's a good point, because sometimes people get promoted and they forget from where they come.
Exactly. They get a big ego.
Yeah, they get like lobotomized, or they get their memory wiped. It's like they forget how it used to be, and then they have like a new expectations, which are like, people are like, how is this possible? Yesterday you had the same problems with us, and now you were one step above us, but you forgot about all the problems, and instead of tackling them and solving them, you're just pretending that they're not there.
Exactly. And one point I think is also important to make, just because of, my podcast, New Age Influencers, and what I talk about all the time, is that it's very similar to people making it online. Like, once you build a brand online and you start getting that, that trajectory growth, and, more people paying attention to you and a bigger audience, a lot of times people let it go to their head. They get a big ego, and they stop doing the things that got them there originally, such as being helpful and sharing and caring and having conversations with people. And if you get too much of an ego and you stop doing the things that got you there, you're going to plateau and you're not going to continue to grow. So I think it's very important to keep that in mind in the online world and the online, especially social media space.
Yes, and having a big ego doesn't really help in any space, and it hurts, like even in leadership. If you forget, as you said, like what brought you there and made you successful, and look, it's good. It's good to be proud of your achievements, but if your achievements put in peril, your proudness puts in peril your what you have achieved, it's not the smart way to go about it.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and what from because you know the person that rose through the ranks so fast, like what would be the things that you noticed about him that helped him do that? Be like constantly moving up and being promoted and achieving the next level.
Yeah, I think there's really two big key things. One is something that's talked about a lot on social media, is the empathy factor. It's just understanding what people are going through themselves, what they're feeling, what they're thinking, what motivates them, as it relates to whatever your situation is. So in this case, it was a software company. In this case, it was selling public relations software. So he understood really what they were going through because he was there, like I said before. But I think number two also is the biggest one, is that he understood how to figure out how to motivate people and really what motivates them, because not everyone is motivated by the same things. So I think a key leader finds out about the individuals that are working for him or her and learns what's important to them, and kind of caters the situation to that. Some people care way more about money than others. Some people care way more about spending time with their family than others. Some people care way more about having the most vacation time and going on travel experiences, than others. So it's just kind of depending on what motivates the person, and just kind of aligning that knowledge with the goals to make the company grow, but also to keep them the happiest as possible.
Yeah, and I'm curious, like, did your friend have like an opportunity to work with you, like one-on-one, and align you and work with your motivations? Because I'm curious, how did that feel?
So he was a peer of mine. We were both, this was like kind of right out of college. So this was I was entry level sales rep. So he was an entry level sales rep. I was an entry level sales rep. We were on different teams. So we were in the same office. It was a pretty big office in Northern Virginia, but it was, we were on separate teams. So I didn't interact with him too much when it came to, online presentations and demos and discussing things in team meetings, because we were on different teams. But we definitely had a friendship, and we talked about the office and certain strategies, outside of, the immediate workplace. So it was good to, mind share with him and learn from him, and also offer some suggestions of what, I saw working on our team, or for me specifically, giving it back to him. So more of a collaborative approach rather than just trying to, beat my friend in the sales numbers, that's always fun to do, to jab your friends, but it's also important to collaborate. So that's key.
Exactly. Well, some friendly banter, it's normal, but not to be to the point like we get to the ugly parts. It's just collaboration always is better than trying to sabotage people and not helping them. It always comes
Most
back.
definitely.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes like to the biggest leadership failure you had the unfortunate experience of witnessing, what story would you like to share?
Yeah, it's something in a similar vertical as what I previously mentioned. It was at a different company. It was a smaller company, and it was a smaller team, but the manager just wasn't in tune with his team. So he just didn't really understand where we were coming from. He didn't really understand how to teach. He came in from a different company that was in a completely different industry. So he had to learn the product and go through everything himself first before he was even able to like hop on a call or be knowledgeable and help his team members with a product. So starting out with that, him as the leader figure, but then having to learn from us as the reps, automatically put his credibility kind of, at risk. So I would say that because of that specifically, he wasn't patient with people. He didn't take the time to really learn the product through and through. And he ended up being someone that was like a boss you type around type of person. And it just didn't work out. Our sales numbers were tanking. They dropped, and he eventually actually got fired because the director above him, brought the whole team together and had a candid conversation with everyone. And everyone was smart and they were good at their job, but we all just came to the consensus that this guy just wasn't taking the right approach. So unfortunately, he was phased out. The leader was phased out by the Army, which was unfortunate for him, but it was necessary for the company growth and just the team numbers.
Would you say that he wanted to force success in a way without doing the work to lay a good, solid foundation?
Yes. A lot of people do that. A lot of, in the office setting, in business, but also on social media, a lot of people just want to get right to the place where they can start being the head honcho, knowing everything, and bossing people around or telling people what they think and hoping wanting everyone to listen to them, without actually putting in the work, the foundation, building up the experience that's necessary to gain that respect and credibility. So, that's exactly right.
Always, you cannot enjoy like a cake if you don't bake it, or you somehow you get some money to buy one.
Exactly. Yep.
It's just not good. And when it comes to leadership, what would be your leadership philosophy?
Pretty much what we've been touching on. Just lead through experience and by doing. Lead as a doer, not just as a teacher. So, get on the calls with your reps if that's the situation. Actually show that you know what you're talking about. Show that you've been in their shoes before, and show what allowed you to rise up and get success. And tell them, how you were able to do that, and just share your knowledge. Don't try to hide secrets or hide certain things you did to get you to the point to keep other people from rising as well. Just make sure to share everything you know and lead by doing. So not being afraid to actually get down and dirty with people on phone calls, or whether it's through direct messages, or whether it's through maybe if you're even giving a speech at an event and someone from the audience comes and wants to ask you questions or shake your hand or whatever, be someone that's willing to have those conversations with those people, and not someone that's just going to go back to their limousine and leave the event. Take the extra time to talk to people who gave you their time in the first place, and honor and respect your opinion. So the least you can do is give it back to them.
Yeah, just be human, basically. And I'm really curious, because you know a lot about social media. How do you think about social leadership, and how do you become like a leader? Because everybody, or it's not everybody, but there are a good chunk of people that want to achieve a sort of leadership, and in my opinion, it's a good way to try out stuff and learn how to be a better leader on social media.
Yeah, honestly, what it comes down to when it comes to getting respect and credibility on social media is just showing people that you actually have done the work and have the experience. There's plenty of people that can claim that they've done the work and have the experience and post fake pictures and try to buy likes and buy followers and buy influence, but those people get found out pretty quickly. And if you don't do that and go about it the right way, and you have a consistent message or some area of expertise that you want to get better in, you don't even have to be an expert in it right now. You can just create expertise by producing content, by producing podcast episodes or videos or images and writing captions appropriately. So you can create that expertise, but you have to go through that journey, and you have to get that experience for people to respect you. So, a year and a half ago when I started my podcast, I would not have been able to legitimately give people advice about how to launch or grow a successful podcast, because I was just starting out myself. So if I was trying to
Okay.
sell those services or something or consulting, no one would really take me seriously. Maybe I'd be able to, swing a couple clients here and there just based off my work ethic, but like no one's seriously going to give me credibility. But now I've been doing it a year and a half, which is still not very long in the grand scheme of things, but a year and a half. I've built up a little bit of a presence, a little bit of credibility in the podcasting space. So people are much more likely to honor and respect my opinion when it comes to podcasting. And therefore, I could sell some services or products if I wanted to. But you have to put in the work first. You have to show people that you've been doing it, that you know what you're talking about, and you're not just trying to fake people out of their money, because that doesn't work anymore. Back when social media was kind of just getting going and just growing, that would work more for people because people were kind of unaware and a little bit gullible. But now people are very in tune. They are smart consumers. They can see fake from a mile away. So if you're being fake and you're trying to fake people out, you're just not going to win in the long term. So to create a long-term sustainable brand or online business or just regular business, you got to be real. You got to treat your customers right, and you got to show them that you have experience in order to get the opportunity to treat them right.
And you mentioned like showing experience is it just by like in an office setting? How would you go about showing your experience?
Just by specifically in an office setting, you can tell stories. So, I mean, just an immediate office setting with like the team members, you would tell stories about when you were a rep, this is what you did, or this is what you saw, or this is how you approach the situation. So storytelling is very key. And, whether it's telling your stories to a specific team in a corporate setting or telling your stories to everyone on social media about your experience, this is what I felt when I started my podcast. This was my initial worry. This was a hurdle that I had to jump over. This was, just being real and documenting it and showing people and telling the story. But I think storytelling is key for everything, no matter what you're trying to do, whether you're trying to sell something or do a good podcast episode or whatever. Storytelling is really key because it's kind of the one thing that binds us all as human beings and is relatable to everyone. So it's something that is good to show, but unfortunately a lot of people are really afraid to show or storytell, their own stories because they think that they're not worthy of sharing, or they don't have an interesting story enough, or they're not pretty enough, or they're not cool enough, or not smart enough or something. So a lot of those insecurities hold people back from sharing those stories. But I think it's those that push through and keep doing it are the ones that are going to rise to the top.
Yeah, and being authentic, and in my opinion, like even being able to share like not only success stories, but also, hey, I messed up in this situation, because it shows that you're human and you're not trying like to say like I'm a god and I am the best and you should try to be like me. And it brings you closer and you gain more respect from people by sharing more of your life and your lessons. You get people to also start sharing with you, and then you get like your friend to find out what motivates them and how to align that. So it makes it easier to work in a professional setting.
Exactly. You got it.
That's great. And Aaron, for aspiring leaders, what would be your top 3 leadership tips you would have for them?
So just to reiterate and summarize what we went over, we kind of hit on those points throughout the last couple questions. But number 1 is leading by doing. So again, being in the trenches with people and showing them that you know what you're talking about. I think number 2 is having that empathy for understanding where they are, where they want to go. And then number 3, again, is just understanding what motivates them. What will motivate someone to try harder to get more sales for you, or make more phone calls, or do more online demonstrations, or what will motivate someone to actually listen to your podcast? Why would they listen to your podcast? Why would they follow you on social media? Are you providing valuable information to help them in a certain topic? What's the reason that they would do that, and what's motivating them? Why do they want to follow you? It's not because they think you're so great. I guarantee you that. It's because they want to learn something from you, and have results in their own life based off what you are saying or you are helping with. So, everyone cares about themselves. It's just an innate human quality.
Yes.
So you've got to understand that and be in tune with that, and make sure you understand how what you're saying and you're putting out is affecting their mindset. And when you can actually shift their mindset and create a change in their life, whether it's small or big, and get them results, then they will respect you forever, and they will follow you, and they will consume your stuff, and they'll eventually buy your products or your services. But it's really hard to do that. So it's something that's important, though, to just you learn to do that by action. You learn to do that by putting out content, putting out videos, seeing what people are responding to, replying with, seeing what questions you get in your DMs, if there are any, and having the ability to, make changes in your strategy. So just as a leader, I think it's important, maybe the fourth one is just the ability to change, the ability to pivot, and not just to be stuck in one methodology or one path or one way of doing things, because adaptation is key, and the world changes so rapidly, especially these last couple months. The world will, never be the same, most likely. So you got to be able to adapt your business, your mindset, your life, your situations to the new normal. And if you can adapt as a leader or just as a follower or consumer, then that'll be key to you winning in life. So that would be my unofficial fourth one. Adaptation.
And I like how you said, like, help them have a mindset shift and see the benefits. Like, hey, if I follow this person, if I work with them, they're going to help me grow and get what I want. And if you can provide a little example of, okay, you were here, you worked with me, I helped you, and you got like a result, that they're going to work even more intense and pay more attention to you. And it's something that happens in all fields of life. Usually the persons you admire more and you want to work with and you respect them and you want to, if they say something, you're going to do it, probably are the people that already helped you and you saw results from their advice and what they shared with you.
Exactly.
Yeah. And when it comes to learning and pushing yourself further, what is the book that had the most profound impact on you?
For me, I actually listen to way more podcasts than I read, but I do have probably about 15 to 20 books that I think are really important for people to sink their teeth into. But the top one or top two for me is probably Think and Grow Rich and The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, which is by Mark Manson. So it's just both those books allow you to understand how to think a little differently. And kind of that's what I'm all about, is living differently, thinking differently, because most of the population thinks a certain way. And so if you can actually feed stuff into your mind and in your brain that allows you to possibly shift some of those mindsets from the normal, then you can eventually get to a place where most of the population can't get to, because most of the people are thinking like the 98%. But if you start shifting and thinking like the 2%, then you'll be able to achieve a 2% type of lifestyle. So I think that's the key. Those two are my favorites. Yep.
Yeah, and I also like them, and they do, after reading them, you do get to have like a slight mindset shift while going through them. They're really good books. Aaron, if people want to find out more about you, where should they go?
They can go to my website is aaronbpatton.com. So AARON, B as in boy, PATTON.com. And they can also go on Instagram, Aaron B. Patton on Instagram. And you can link to all my other accounts from there, the podcast account, some of my other concept accounts. But and then New Age Influencers is the podcast. So just tell Siri or Alexa to play New Age Influencers, and they'll bring it up.
Awesome. And I'll put links in the show notes to all the resources you've just shared. And I highly encourage people to go and check them out. Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you, Aaron. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Hope it was helpful for everyone.
Yeah, sure was. Thank you. Bye bye.
That was today's episode. Tune in daily. Rate, like, subscribe, and share, please. Oh, you can find further info and materials in the show notes on techyleadership.com, including links to the guest book recommendations.